Yeah, this is Kensal Town. Yeah, you know we don't play around. Yeah, ever since they started stacking, J&T made it happen. Ali's gonna keep you pattern. Yeah, we just came up from the northwest. 21 games undefeated, getting bored. Yeah, 2 cups and a league. It's a clean sheet. If it's Ams or Jonan keeps. Yeah, Billy on the wing, he got mad tech. Makalele, Zeno, take no disrespect. Who held it down? That was Joe, Garvin, Seb, Frank, Luke, Drake, Jack, Connor, Liam in defense. Yeah, Brazilian Cam, Vinny Dino. Ant's gonna shoot and score on a reload. Cass on a camera, bro, it's looking clean, bro. Yeah, the trophy's what my team holds. Yeah.
Just before the video starts, I'd just like to say, make sure that you check out our KT podcast on Apple Podcasts. If you don't want to watch it on YouTube, watch it on Apple Podcasts, and you will be able to watch it without any video. You can listen to it on your daily walk. You can listen to it anytime you can. While you're playing PS4, whatever you're doing, watch the video. Make sure you do that. Make sure you check out all of our Instagrams. Check out the Kensal Town official Instagram, and all be linked down below. More engagement means more videos, so please like and subscribe. Hello and welcome to a Kensal Town podcast, a Zoom meeting podcast. We've got a special little video here because we want you lot to get to know the gaffer and his assistant Tim. You got Jonan, Tim, and just say hello, lads.
How you doing? All right, guys.
Hey guys, how you doing?
So, explain to us how have you lot been doing in quarantine?
Like everyone else, trapped, locked in as much as you can before you go a little bit insane. But social distancing is obviously important, as we all know. It's quite difficult though, obviously, when you're locked in for too long. You sort of creep into sort of cheating a little bit and getting out as best you can, but as safely as you can. But obviously, everyone's got to keep locked away and make sure everyone's family's safe. And it's, again, as we all know, it's not about what you get, it's what about you can pass on to someone else. So be thoughtful, be wise, and stay safe.
I've been doing all right. I wasn't well at the beginning of this lockdown period. I couldn't say I had corona, but it seems as though everyone's forgotten that you can get a normal flu, you can get a normal cold. Yeah, you know, if you get a cold or flu now, corona, but these other things still exist. So, I wasn't well, but I've been doing great. I'm fortunate enough to work in the public sector, and I haven't been furloughed, thank God, and money's been coming in. So, like, as long as you've got your health and strength and you can pay the bills, really and truly, we've got nothing to complain about. It's not ideal, but you know, it is what it is.
Probably the break everyone needs, to be honest.
What's that, bro?
So it's probably the break everybody needs, to be honest. Everyone's sort of grafting so much and they don't really spend enough time with their own family. And I suppose it's this generation of kids growing up now that can probably say they spent more time with their mum and dad together than any other generation so far.
Well, like, for example, both of us, me and you, T, we work a lot. And I know the hours you put in and the hours I put in work and stuff. And sometimes you lose sight of what's really important, you know. So it's been a welcome break. I'm not gonna lie to you. The only thing I miss is the gym, but even so, I've been doing other sort of workouts, you know, like running. Got some dumbbells at home. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I've had a good time. It's been fun.
I miss the gym too.
Kimbo slice there, gaffer.
Kimbo slice. Oh, that's a violation, Tim.
I'll take him right now.
He's dead.
Yeah, I know. That's why I take him.
Okay. Well, tell us, what do you lot hope happens with football, with the Premier League, with the leagues below, and with KT?
Oh boy, that's a big question. Obviously, I'm a Liverpool fan. It's a tricky one. I got kind of controversial views on it. I think to myself that footballers, a lot of them are whiny because they fall in the age gap which are least affected. They're probably in the 1% of the fittest people in the country. Between the majority of footballers are between 18 and 34, let's say 18 and 35 males, access to the best healthcare and treatment possible. the chance of footballers getting an illness that they're going to succumb to any sort of serious harm is probably very slim. So I think there's no reason why they can't play behind closed doors. That the Bundesliga has showed that they can play behind closed doors, and I thought it was quite cool. It would be nice to complete the season, play maybe a game on the weekend and a midweek game. Since they ain't been doing anything for the last 3 months, they can play 2 games a week, get it wrapped up, and then that way, you know, the argument's not so much about winning the league, because Liverpool are a country mile ahead of the league. It's the teams that are going to be affected by relegation that it's more going to affect in every division. I just think they can complete it. We know what's going on nationally, but I do think to some extent, you know, normal life has to resume. Whenever we come out of the lockdown, people are going to get ill. Like, we can't be caged up forever. And whenever we're free, people are going to get sick. I know the government's trying to stage sort of like how it's managed, but I think football should continue and come back and be wrapped up. There's no Euros. There's no reason not to finish the football. So that's a bit long. With KT, if we could play through the summer, like a summer tournament, once it's safe to do, I would welcome it. For selfish reasons, because we were on our way to winning things, hopefully. We were top of the league by a country mile again, and we were like in one cup final on our way to another. But if we had to start again in September, then so be it.
Oh, I would hate that. I would absolutely hate to restart. Tim, any words?
I just think, you know, we're sort of animals ourselves, and we're used to regime and sort of what the norm is of everyday life. So football being paused at the moment is outside of that normal sort of reality of what happens. But to continue now, the league, I think it is important to finish it off. Just, I don't know, mainly for the fact that there's so much has been put in, and for the teams in the lower, in sort of League One, League Two, etc. You know, if they're pushing for promotion and the league gets shut down, it sort of really affects them. I know the Premier League will always be the Premier League, and they've always got money, etc. But all those clubs in the lower divisions that have maybe invested a lot of time, effort, blood, sweat, tears, it really does sort of affect them. And I think by stopping it, you're sort of cutting the bloodline really for them to be able to grow into, you know, the major club that they all want to dream and be like, sort of be like. And ultimately, all these players that want to sort of take it to the next level, you're sort of taking the carpet underneath their feet, and you're just not letting them grow. So I think ultimately it's going to really affect, yes, the Premier League, but more so sort of the clubs in the lower divisions, all the way down to sort of your conference levels. You saw as what happened with in the Dutch league. They've stopped the league, and teams that were sort of going to get promoted into the top division in the Eredivisie, they were good. So, I mean, what does it mean for them? It's a lot of money wasted and a lot of time and effort. So I think it's a bit of an injustice, or a major injustice, but it's a bit sad as well, for maybe players that have a year or two left on their contracts that are of an age where perhaps it might be the first time or the last time they get to play in the top divisions. You know, if the team goes up, that's their opportunity to sort of see out their dream the right way. So again, it's heartbreaking for them. In terms of us at grassroots level, yeah, I mean, everybody knows in terms of where Kensal Town's at, we're top of the league. No one's going to sort of be able to catch up with us. And if you're looking at sort of what we've done, we're unbeaten. So I can't see any team that we've already played beating us, really, to be fair. It's frustrating because we want to sort of put it to bed like sort of the old school Arsenal invincible style by not losing a single game and putting our foot down and stamping who we are in that league. And, you know, ultimately we were up for the treble, cup final, the whole experience. So going back to the point of people not being used to sort of outside of normal regime, it's difficult for football clubs. It's difficult for us. You know, we've sort of run the way KT runs, the same way like pro clubs run. We do a pre-season, we do trials. We were looking to go abroad this year for pre-season. We were going to do an end-of-season award ceremony. So it sort of throws everything out of sync, and it sort of plays with what our potential plans were going to be. So again, we don't really want to lose out on all those experiences, especially in our first year. So it can be a bit of a sour one to take.
What do you lot think about the reports that they could possibly be a way of ending the season, but bringing up the promoted squads and relegating 3 or possibly 4, 1 or 2 more clubs next season?
Me personally, I think teams should be allowed to come up, and like football's got to have some sort of flexibility. There's nothing that should be so rigid. They've changed the competition so many times. The Champions League used to have 2 group stages. That there's so many different ways they've changed formats and stuff. there
Never
are
know.
ways. Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's how long we've been watching. It used to be two teams to come out the first Champions League group stage to a second group stage. Then it was knockouts. It was a very long competition. The Europa League was a very long competition. Never used to have the same format it is now. Then there was a Cup Winners' Cup they used to have as well. As my Chelsea fan will tell you, you know.
Entry one, Jonan
Good day.
and his boys.
Right, so what I'm saying is there is scope to bring up more teams. You brought up another what? Say you brought up the two automatic teams. Forget the playoffs in the divisions. You brought two teams up, so it's that Leeds and West Brom or whoever it is.
Leeds and West
That
Brom,
means
yeah.
It means you've got 22 teams in the league, and how many? I can't think about mathematically how many more games that would be, but it'd only be an additional 2 games per team, so you'd end up with a 40-game season, right? You could quite easily squeeze in another 2 games. Get rid of the international friendlies and that they're doing. Put a couple games in. The season could finish around the same time. So I think they should do that, and then the bottom 5 get relegated. But then the problem would be next season, you'd have to be on the understanding of next season only the top 2, and then the playoffs would have to go back to the normal way it was. As long as it was a one-off. It's like the year Liverpool won the Champions League and they finished 5th. But there wasn't any precedent at the time for the winners to automatically qualify for the Champions League. But UEFA were like, well, they're the defending champ. To finish 5th, they have to go in it next season. There needs to be some flexibility. It can't be so rigid. And what I must say as well, I do feel that Premier League clubs have a responsibility to look after some of these clubs. You saw like Harry Kane that was sponsoring Leyton Orient.
Yeah.
There are teams that this pandemic may put them out of business because some of these guys are getting paid. Pro footballers are getting paid £300 a week in like League 3 and League 4, maybe a bit more than that. But anyway, these Premier League clubs, their players getting paid millions of pounds a year, and there's a responsibility where they've got to look after football as a whole.
Yeah, no, I agree with the gaffer. I'd say that it can be changed. I mean, look at the World Cup in Qatar. World Cup historically is in summer, but yet they're going to do it in winter. So that would have changed the whole format. Exactly. So again, you know, there's a lot of clubs, for example, a lot of managers in the past have moaned about players from African nations going away in African nations because it interrupts the leagues. Well, maybe this is a time for European teams to be able to or clubs and players from Europe to be able to sort of take a sort of step into their African players' shoes and see what it's like to play and miss a couple of games on the domestic season to play an international. But again, it's down to FIFA. It's down to the FA over here. You can have as many opinions as you want of it, but ultimately, I think what the manager's saying is right. Jonan's sort of hit it correctly. I think promote the clubs and then next season relegate a couple of extra. How they can operationally, the FA can operationally plan it out so that all the games can be done with enough time between each game for the players to rest. That's down to them. That's why they get paid the big bucks. But yeah, I mean, I think the players do have responsibility, especially, you know, someone like Harry Kane and all these other boys, Dele Alli, where they've come from lower league and they've sort of seen the struggles that they've had to and their family have had to go through before they get to that sort of top level. So ultimately, you know, it's easy for them to argue and say, oh, why do we have to take a pay cut? But who else gets paid the sort of money you guys get paid per week in this country other than probably drug dealers? So ultimately,
they don't get that money. I'm sure
I mean, it's not. You're not fighting to survive. You just like ultimately you got money that you sort of burn, so to speak. So again, a little bit here and there, percentage here and there. You know, it's not going to cost you. It's not going to cost you your family, and for these guys, it might cost them their family.
You definitely don't want to get in a real with Mendoza, or he would refuse to take a pay cut. So how about you both tell us, how was KT formed in your own eyes? Obviously, how was it formed? The whole 9 yards.
It's like a sort of a romantic story about, how did you meet your partner? We all met a few years back, a couple of years ago, where we played for another Sunday League team. And on reflection, that was a blessing because we wouldn't have known each other. And also, it showed us the pitfalls of how not to run a Sunday League club or how not to run a club, not in a disrespectful way, but the problems that you had and the things that, you know, you wanted to avoid. So then we played that season, got to the cup final, got beaten. We left we just like had enough of it. And then I heard that Imran, who's not with us in this chat, Amin's brother, was talking about he wanted to do his own thing, start his own team. Because I know previously you and Imran had a team that you had in midweek. And he was speaking about starting it up. I thought, great, good luck to the lads, got not much interest. And then they approached me, myself and Tim, and sort of like, what do you think about this? We had some preliminary talks, and we met up and had a chat. The four of us went and sit down and talk. And to be honest, you know, the idea came from you boys in terms of what you wanted them. The four of us, we had a vision of what we wanted from a club. I was like, I can't do it by myself, and I haven't done it by myself. It's been the four of us. It's been myself and Tim. Tim is every bit of a manager as I am. I don't. We bounce off each other. I run things for him. If he says, I think we should do this, I'm like, yep, great idea. You know, I like the managing style. I'm not the best coach. We've got guys who are tactical, play football at quite a high level, that do the coaching. I'm happy for them to crack on and do that. I'm not this sort of autonomous sort of guy that wants to take control of everything. Yourself, Amin, you've been running the social media, which has been great. I can only get better. And that's another area. I'm not really a techie guy. So that's another area which you've really embraced, and you've grown so much in that role. Imran's more of a quiet guy. He just likes to gets the bookings done. He gets a lot of the admin done. And people don't realise how important these jobs are, because you can be as dynamic as you want. If your admin's not in place in the right way, you got nothing. So we had that talk, all starting with ideas. And from what I remember, it's been like a roller coaster, because since then, it's just gone from strength to strength. There's been so many things with sponsors and ideas and plans. But, you know, like anything, we've had hiccups here and there, but it's been a very well-oiled machine. That's what I think. And I'm sure Tim could tell you from his perspective what else. I probably missed out loads.
Yeah, no, I mean, exactly what the manager said. Really, when we did sit down, we decided how we wanted to sort of run the team front of house and back of house. And obviously, Imran does a lot of the sort of admin, well, does all the admin, to be fair, which has actually helped us financially not get fined for late sort of match reviews and reports and stuff like that. And he was also paramount in reaching out to a lot of our sponsors, which is where we sort of began, because ultimately, you know, as great as it is, it takes money to run this club. And it also takes the amount of sponsorship that Imran got for us to allow us to not have to, you know, get the boys to pay so much out of their own pocket, which really subsidised a lot of, you know, a lot of the players financially. Also, it helps some boys. You know, not everybody in our squad were in positions where they could financially support themselves in that sort of sense. So really and truly to get a minimum off them, which was great as well. You know, I mean, you were very much so about letting them pay month by month, and it's not a lot, but to those that aren't earning it, it is a lot. So that was a real sort of important point for us. You know, the fact that we got that finances from our fantastic supporters, our backers, financial backers, that ultimately they sort of helped us to really find our feet. And then the structure, as we discussed, about making sure we did things properly. So we had that huge trial at the beginning, which was fantastic. And it was great. You know, it made us feel like, you know, there's a hell of a lot of people that are interested in this sort of journey and what we were planning on doing. And the truth is, the guys that started with us are still with us. And, you know, people like your Billies, your Frankies, and all these guys who are, you know, ultimately they've been playing for other clubs. They're really proud to represent KT, and they are part of the family. And that's how we wanted it, didn't we, boys? We wanted to make sure that we had a team that was together. Win or lose, hopefully we haven't suffered the loss, which is great. But thank God, yes. But ultimately, yeah, we have got a team, we have got a family. You know, we've included a couple extra boys, which is what we said. We want to run our trials and our sort of transfer windows as the clubs do. So we did a summer one, we did a winter window, and again, the rest was down to the team. The team were sort of playing fantastically, growing closer and closer. Couple of boys like your Vinnies and that come in that didn't speak English, all of a sudden they felt that they had a family, and it's really nice to see that what we started with was nothing, and by the support of, obviously, you know, the skills that you guys have, I mean, on the social media, Jonan, people management, and sort of the coaching side of things that you did, and obviously Imran with the sort of getting out there and knocking on people's doors and sort of getting that money, and that was what sort of gave us our heartbeat. And so, sadly, of course, we're on hold at the moment, but we're on hold as the champions. But again, it's you know, everybody knows, you know, that to make a football team, you can't carry it on your back by yourself. It doesn't work like that. And as much as us four are important, we wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for the 11 on the field and the substitutes, and your Rays and your Simons and all these people, because that's, we're a community, and bringing in people from the community, that's who we are. That's what we do. When we were talking about great games, we have great games with great atmosphere. It's those people that make it. It's not us four. It's all of them. What we started with being 0 and where we are now, what an achievement. I'm so proud. And it's like, again, it's sad that we're on pause, but again, we're on pause as champions. So, we can only smile and be happy and proud of what we've done.
I think we should use the word champions-elect more. Champions-elect. It sounds like much nicer.
I'll touch on a few things Tim was saying. It's so true. Me and Tim, we talk quite a lot. I had to chat with him yesterday, and this experience made me realize something that I didn't realize that I was missing. So before KT started, I didn't feel like I was missing this void of, having something so special. Now it's something that I can't do without, and it's been quite tough being away from the boys. But what I will say is the contact we've had with the boys, they're rearing to go. They can't wait to go for next season. And if people think that we were good this season, not in a gas or way, next season we'd have had a year of experience playing in this league and playing together as lads. Next season it's going to be we're going to push on. We're not going to be stagnating and be where we're starting again, trying to find out who plays best where. We know where we're heading. We've got some exciting stuff that's coming. I don't know if Amman's going to break it, but there's exciting deals being broken in the background. One that I'm very excited about. We won't talk about it now. One I'm very excited about. That's going to propel us to the next level. So, everything happens for a reason. We just got to accept that whatever happens for whatever reason, and we just got to ride with it. But,
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if you plant good trees grow, and ultimately we planted a lot of good seeds, and ultimately, the boys have matured. The players, there's some guys that come in young, different mentalities, bit from the street, sort of fight and all this nonsense that people wanted to kick off. And the boys slowly and surely just thought, this is not what we're here for. And ultimately they've grown as individuals, but also as a team. When there's an incident, the boys always stand together. They always defend each other. They always argue the same point. And as we've seen in certain games, when we're 2-1 down or 2-0 down, they fight for each other. The heads don't drop. They don't moan at each other. They just get up and get on with it, and it's the coming together. When we score a goal, you literally see the left back or the right back running up to the centre forward at the other side of the field to hug him. And it's that camaraderie that we've built. It's nice to see when we sit back and we look and we think, wow, look at these lot go. On the group chat, when the boys are supporting each other, be it for something non-football related. I'm proud to think, these guys, there's people in that group chat that perhaps you may think, it's a bit fiery on the pitch sometimes, but it's all love. And ultimately, that's what it comes down to.
That's a great team. Whilst I think of that, I've been been playing football sort of since I was 8, so best part 25 years, let's say. I've never been in a team. Forget the ability, that's one thing. I've never been in a team whereby they don't argue amongst each other. We don't really fight amongst each other. In the group chat, on the pitch, away from it. Like Tim said, when someone has a success, we celebrate with them. When someone has a loss, we commiserate with them. And the togetherness that we're growing, we're bonding from different walks of life. We've got Brazilians, we've got people from Philippines, we've got English, we've got mixed race, we've got black, we've got
Africans,
we've got, you name it. You're good enough and you want to be part of what we're doing and have the ethic that we have. You're welcome with open arms. And I think the multicultural aspect of it, everyone coming together, it's been beautiful. I've had no issue with the boys. They show myself and Tim the utmost respect because we've shown them that respect, and we love the boys. We want the best for them in their lives, not just in football. So it's been amazing.
Yeah, like the manager said, because of what we've done and how much we really want these boys to do well, in life and not just football, but because of what we've done, and it's good, it's really organic and it's really sort of positive. We're reaping the rewards. Like people, which we won't mention now, we're being approached by industries and corporations stuff to give us, to sort of sponsor us, to literally put money in our account before we even started. And because it started really good and positive, we're going to get back. People are going to give to us and support us because we're good people, and what we're doing is right. And it's a really good, positive sort of club and everything about us, everything we do. It's all positive.
I feel like that is true. I feel like what we tried to build was a club where anyone could be involved, like race, anything, literally orientation, literally you name any sort of thing. we wouldn't care, because that's the kind of like squad that we wanted to create, and I feel like that's actually coming into fruition now, especially with the quarantine, because like, everyone's showing like this camaraderie. Like people like Billy, Mo, who like aren't really like out there with their KT support during quarantine, have been so out there with their KT support, and it's been really fun to see at times.
Yeah, you know, the boys support each other, don't they? We see them on video sometimes giving good feedback, and just, you know, for example, people like Ali go out of his way, plays midfield for us, goes out of his way to train guys. He doesn't have to do that, but he does that because he really cares, and it's something that he wants someone else to improve. And, you know, he wouldn't have to do that. He's a talented midfielder. He could just keep it to himself, but it just shows you the character and the person that he is. And all the team are like that. You know, different players in our team will give their bit in the best way they can. And it replicates with sort of what we do. Do you know what I mean? We support the boys. If they call us for anything non-related, we're here. We put it in. It's all positive.
Someone like Mikey is very important to the team as well. Like his wisdom and knowledge and ability to like almost be zen when you're playing a football match is like amazing, because like he'll have a little talk with you and you'll feel like, oh my god, this person's like literally calming me down. He's real with it.
Mikey is one of the characters that I really appreciate. He keeps us in check. He ain't scared to tell me and Tim, you're doing this wrong. I think you should do this. But he does it in such a respectful way. He cares about the boys. He started coaching the boys, and they respect him. I think he's grown in respect. The boys, they weren't sure about him because he's quite a quiet guy. I think he's grown in like stature. They see him as a guy who cares about them. He knows what he's talking about football coaching wise. He's a good guy. He calms down our fiery characters, and we call him Uncle Mike. You know, he's like, he looks after the boys, and he's just a great guy to have around. Tim touched on it earlier. Ray, come rain or shine, Ray's putting up the nets. All he wants is a bit of help. He's there with umbrellas. You know, he's there every week. You know, and people like those people, in years to come, that's the fabric of what we're about. And I will say this, like, a lot of times people don't really pick up other clubs. I've been looking at a lot of SE Don stuff during this lockdown period, and I've got to respect what they've done. We're not trying to be SE Dons, but we can take on our own sort of, you know, we're on our own lane, our own path to what they're doing. But what they've done is they've inspired teams to try and, as you know, Sunday league teams, grassroots teams, to try and elevate themselves in whatever way they can. So if we can be a team that can inspire other people, whether it's football, it's another sport, wherever it is, that's what we're here to do as well.
Lovely. So how about both of you give us your earliest footballing memory? Like earliest memory you have, if it's watching a game or literally anything. Give us a insight into your earliest football memory.
I've got a few. I remember early days watching Blackburn Rovers in the Champions League, which I remember they played Spartak Moscow. I think that was 94-95 season, and Blackburn had just won the league, and that sounds like madness to me right now when I say it. I remember Arsenal getting done by Real Zaragoza and Naeem lobbing Seaman. That's one of my memories early. I missed out on you were saying 94 was a bit early for me. I was 9. I wasn't really banging to football at 9, but Euro 96 was my first tournament that I watched, and I fell in love with international football and football. Amazing. That period of time was romantic in my mind, you know, 96, 97, 98, 99, early 00s, watching all the Premier League greats. That's it really. That's what, you know, there's some of the players that played in the Premier League the era before, honestly, unbelievable. It's sort of that when the influx of foreign players really started coming over here, early 90s. That's my real sort of in love with the game sort of time.
My football memory, I think my earliest is probably was about 94. I remember watching the Brazil team and used to watch Dunga with his blue armband, sort of very, very creative, strong, very Maradona-sized midfielder. It was quite impressive at my age, probably about 8 or 9 as well, I think, just earlier than that. Watching what was, for me, a fantastic Brazil squad. And I think after that, there's probably Chelsea in the Cup Winners' Cup. I think we were playing in Norway. I can't remember who against. And it was quite poignant because, like, oh, wow, okay, Tore Andre Flo's Norwegian and he's playing against the Norwegian team. So it was quite an impressive game. I think it snowed quite heavily, and back then they used to play with an orange ball. So I think that was quite a view. It was like, oh, wow, okay. So that's probably my earliest memories. And then I think other than that, I used to go with my dad to one of my uncle's bars in Brixton. We used to watch the Portuguese leagues. So you'd watch teams like Boa Vista and Braga and Porto, and you'd hear an English name playing for a Portuguese club, and then you'd go home and you try and look that person up from a book, because internet wasn't around back then. But you try to see who that person is, and you'd ask, "Oh, is there an English player playing in Portugal?" So that's where the sort of intrigue and start came from. But yeah, I think that's probably my earliest memory. It's Dunga in the World Cup first one there.
When I've had to tell certain man that watch football now, these new breed of fans, some of them are shocked when I told them Eric Cantona flying kicked a fan. People are like, what? I was like, yeah, he flying kicked a fan.
How do you not know that? Come on, man.
No, it's you'd be surprised. Some of these guys, they literally don't know about. That's what 95 against Crystal Palace, I think it was.
Mhm.
A lot of these guys, Jonan, they don't even remember like when players were player managers. I used to see Ruud Gullit sitting there managing, get annoyed, and then take his tracksuits off and get on and show him how it's done.
Mark Hughes,
all them guys, that player managers existed a lot back then. Your Gianluca Vialli, these guys used to smoke. They used to sit on the bench as managers and get annoyed and come on. And you think, it was a different football back then. And tackles were a lot harsher back then and weren't punishable as, people tripping over themselves and the opposition getting a yellow card. When you went in for a tackle, you felt it. These days, those sort of tackles, you'd see you get a 6-match ban.
They had man like Vinnie Jones who couldn't really kick ball. He couldn't kick ball today.
Crazy gang were rightly named.
They were crazy.
Guys, they were nuts. But that was things like little things like that you remember. Like their sponsor was Elonex.
Yeah.
Little things like that, it's amazing.
I remember that Nicky Barmby when he came out. Everyone thought he was the next Gazza. They had I used to remember the goalkeeper tops, and I used to like all the old Newcastle.
The old vintage, the retro stuff.
Oh, when Ipswich got the bang off Man United 9-0 and Andy Cole scored 5 goals, stuff like that. 95. He just that's a mad thing. All them era, or when Newcastle played Man United. Newcastle and Man United was a big rivalry. I remember Philip Albert chipping Schmeichel. Schmeichel's to
That's
be
when
on a
Newcastle were like, did Newcastle win the league that season?
No, they were 12 points clear at Christmas and they threw it away.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Kevin Keegan was complaining about, I'd love it if they beat them, I'd love it, and then they lost.
Listen, I never liked Man United, but I tell you what, I respect them, and I tell you what, Man United now are disgraced as to what they used to be. No, it's like what Liverpool were. Up until recently, Liverpool are disgraced as to what they were in the 80s and 70s. Man United in the 90s, well, untouchable.
Let me tell you something about the United right now. This Bruno Fernandes fella, watch him. He's changing United.
Can't really carry the team.
No, but the thing is, look at our team. We got the hair and goal. Billy's better than Bruno Fernandes. Okay.
Billy and Mo are better than Fernandes and Pogba. That's it. There's no more to say about that.
Obviously, it's been 1 year today, and obviously it's been a mad journey. Like obviously ups and downs, and it's just been fun, man. Honestly, best time of my life so far.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And you know what, bro? It's only gonna get better.
100%, man. Obviously, bigger and better every year. Like we don't want to stop. We want to keep on going.
It's like education, This year was primary school. Next year we're going secondary school. The year after
100%.
we're going college,
university.
Yeah. It's a journey. It's a process.
Yeah, man. 100%, man. But yeah, man. As long as we all stay safe now, and once we get back, we can't stop, man. We've got to keep going. Your 21 games unbeaten has to keep on going. We keep marching on. Yeah, man. And
if we ever lose our streak, we lose it. We'll just regroup and go. And we got another 21 games. Now, we're not scared to take that help. We're planning for everything. So,
Yeah, definitely, man. But yeah, man.
Every loss is a lesson, man.
I've got to jump on Call of Duty with the mandem. So I said what I need to say. Yeah. You lot, take care.
Yeah, so Jonan, Tim, obviously we had Imran on for a bit, but how about you tell us about how your relationship as a assistant manager and manager has developed or blossomed?
Oh wow, that's a great word. Flower, blossom. And in all seriousness, Tim and I don't know, there's some people you meet in life that your spirit you don't take to them. You either don't like, not saying you don't like them, it's a horrible thing to say, but there's some people you meet in life who you're not really compatible. With Tim, it was the opposite. Some people you meet in life, you just click. And you feel like you've known them your whole life, and you get on, you have the same sort of values and the same vision in life. So he was playing in goal for our other team. I was playing centre back. We had a great understanding, a good chemistry. We knew what we was going to do. When we were on the pitch, he trusted me, I trusted him, and then we'd go to the games to and from each other, and we just got really close. To be honest, we just talked about a lot of personal things about life, the universe. My kids love him. Mrs. loves him. He's a great guy. And our off the field sort of personal relationship. When you enter into a venture, whether it be business or whether it be a sort of social project, it's always really important when you've got personal relations with people that you don't let that get in the way, positively or negatively. So, but with us, we're not going to fall out over anything. We have utmost respect for each other, and we've got the same. Our friendship's more important than football, more important than any other thing, money, whatever. So that's straight away with the same sort of goals in mind and ethos and the way we are as human beings is seamless. So it really helps. It's a massive help because having someone that as an assistant manager that I've got complete sort of faith in. Like there's times that I'm like, right, what do I do with this team? What do you think about his formation? He's like, nah, it's not going to work because blah blah blah. I trust him completely, and I just feel like that's helped. Because it's impossible for one person to manage. Our squad's massive. On match day, we've got like 20 guys turning up.
Crazy.
Sometimes could be more. And trying to juggle tactics plus the referee, opposition, the dynamic of the situation, the team, the lads, keeping everyone happy is hard. So it's a bit, in my mind, although I'm privileged to be the manager, it's a bit like Gerard Houllier and Roy Evans, where they're joint managers, where for me, Tim's every much as important to me as I am in terms of managing. But we just have a sort of structure.
Yeah, and the players respect the manager. Do you know what I mean? That's ultimately what it is. We've never demanded it. We've never had to sort of take a claim to who's who and what position we are in. It's not how we do things. It's not how the manager does stuff. So ultimately, just through speaking to the boys, again, being real, listening to the little things outside or inside of football, perhaps understanding their characters when something's not quite right. Jonan might say, "Yo, Tim, listen, I know perhaps you speak a little bit more with this guy. Go and have a little word with him." So yeah, no problem. Like you go and have a little word with someone, take on board what their stresses are, see what you can do, and just let them know that we're here to help. And so again, it's sort of that working together. There's players that I think Jonan will speak to that will sort of understand because perhaps he has a bit more. What would be the word? A bit more of a sort of understanding of their background and perhaps what they're going through personally. Than I would. And so I might say, yeah, Jay, you know what? I think this player's a little bit down. Maybe I'll have a little word with him. And, Joe will put his arm around the player. And it's like that. That's how we get people sort of working positively, trying to keep them happy. We've had a few guys in our squad that have had really had a tough year for more than personal reasons and beyond. But again, it's, they still turn up. So there's something there with perhaps who we are, who KT are, that makes them feel like, this is their sanctuary. This is where they can come and sort of clear their mind or perhaps speak to myself or the manager. So, yeah, I think we've again, going back to what Jonah's saying, like when we played for the old team, there were myself, Jay, a couple other guys that were sort of on that level. And, we grew really close, centre-back, goalkeeper. The fact that we had a miserable team, but we still made it we still made it to a final was quite miraculous. And, for a centre-back to play as hard as Jonan did and never get sent off wasn't good for wasn't good for me because I never got to wear the captain's armband. But ultimately, we had a laugh. It was, during those games and then speaking in the car and, we do midweek football, the two of us, and it's like it's my family, it's my brother right there. And his girls are amazing. His wife's fantastic. And ultimately, when you got people with good values in that, I mean, like Jonan said, you just sort of meet people and laugh, and sometimes you just click, and it's just effortless. And then that replicating onto the boys, and we sort of, we're the ears that they sometimes need to speak to. So
and I think as well, I feel like I've got to really get to know Amin and you, Amin, and your brother Imran. I've really got to understand what you're about, and you're outstanding young men. I know I'm like what? I'm sorry to say this. I'm old enough to be your dad. I'm like 16 years older
Eat
than
your
you.
greens.
But what I will say is there's the fact that I've seen you develop. Like you had a big birthday. You much more mature than your 18 years. You've developed so much as a person, and we're proud of you. And it's just the beginning, really. Like your social media stuff, you've taken aboard some criticism, some fair, some unfair, maybe. But you've developed, and Imran definitely has as well. And I've seen the growth. So as well as I've got closer to him, I'm very fond of you boys in terms of the way you are. And I hope that we can just continue building all of our relationships from strength to strength and help each other out. Because that's what life's about, is helping all of each other out through this difficult journey that they call life.
I feel like also, like, me and Imran are still very young, whereas you two are quite obviously older, whereas you lot know a lot more. I feel for us, it's like there's still a learning curve for us, especially with football, because obviously you lot have got, what, 16 years plus. And that segues nicely into my next question. What is the highest level of football either of you have played? I know Tim's much higher, but Jonan, I've never heard yours.
For me, I'll be honest with you. My football ability was always held back for various reasons. I was never one of those guys to get injured. Touch wood, I've never been injured, so I can't use that as an excuse. But when I was young, I got scouted to play for like teams like Rayners Lane and what have you. I played for all my teams, all my schools. You know, I didn't get into the uni team. Uni had like 7 teams, but at different points in my life, I had different priorities. I had my first daughter when I was 21. My mum was bang on education, so when I came to like year 9, she was like, "No more football, crack on with your education," which I didn't really like. So for me, I never did much in football. I never played at a high level. Sunday league's the best sort of level I got to, but you know what? It is what it is. Not all of us can be, you know, Premier League footballers and the rest. Everyone needs to just stay in their lane.
Texieria.
Me, I played school, college, county level, London County for a little while. It was fun. Used to play at Dulwich Hamlet Stadium, trek from where we live, but it was great experience. And then got a schoolboys cap for England at the under-19s level. Again, you're going up against boys that are at pro clubs. So, you know, fantastic talent. Some guys haven't even made it. But yeah, that's probably about as high as I went. You know, enjoyable leagues that I played in. I played for Embassies League in South London. So I used to represent the Panama Embassy, which was quite an experience. So I used to play against Japan and Poland and it was nice. It was really, it was different. And it was not as intense as perhaps schoolboys or county level, but again, it was still big rivalry. You know, everybody representing their sort of country, even though I'm not from Panama, but you know, take on the flag and you play with your heart. So, but that's about it. Not so far more. Again, you know, what pays at that time, or what was paying more at that time, wasn't the football. So it's not. I can, you know, continue. It's, you know, you have to make your choice. As most, you know, there's even pros that you know leave the pro game to go elsewhere. So again, it's not for everyone. The point or 0.0 whatever 1% will make it through of the millions that search for it. But again, it wasn't for a lack of hard work and trying. It was just sometimes it's not meant to be. You know, people say, "Oh, it is." There is a bit of luck involved. You know, you can train really, really hard and somebody spots you and you get your opportunity and you become a pro, or if that person didn't spot you, you wouldn't be there. So it has got a lot to do with luck. But again, it's, you know, that, in terms of the level I've played, that's probably about the highest I went, schoolboys and county.
Very impressive still, you know, schoolboys, county, bloody hell. I'll stick to school, playing in school. But no, but I will say in like year 10, I did play for the year 13s, like Imran's year. So I was in year 10 playing for year 13s. I felt a bit gassed in it. So for that year and a half, I walked around a bit, you know. But yeah, final question. We're gonna wrap it up with this. What are your aspirations for Kensal Town?
Good question.
I almost feel like you lot are just gonna say the same thing, but let's
For me,
because we've spoken about this a lot.
For me, on the basic level, I want us to complete a season and maximise ourselves, win everything we possibly can. I would like to grow the club. I would like this to be a long-term project, a long-lasting club that in 30 years' time, when I'm retired, it will be running, and some of the boys will still be taking part of it. I want it to be a bit of a legacy thing, to be honest, that the four of us started something, and our kids and grandkids or kids in the community in 30 years' time will be proud to play for Kensal Town. And if I had my way, I would love to take us to, semi-pro, non-league, league football. That'd be my dream. And I feel like if you don't aim big or dream big, you never achieve anything in life. That'd be my dream. But realistically, if we establish it as a very, 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 very good side and a very good Sunday league team, semi-pro team, then, with our own stadium or own pitch or our own sort of community base and everything that comes with that, I'll be over the moon.
I'd say I think I've discussed this with Jonan actually. We discuss it quite regularly. I think we discussed it yesterday or the day before. What we would like, and I think we end most of our conversations, regardless of if it's personal, private, with what we'd like for Kensal Town. So I'd say the same. Like, we'd like to sort of grow through the ranks. We understand, again, it's got to be organic. You can't just bring in superstars to play. These type of people demand pay and stuff. So, being realistic, I'd say, like the manager said, completing this season, getting that silverware, creating that sort of base layer and sort of just build up. And, what I'd like to see a bit more of, perhaps, which again, this is going to be more about in time, is more involvement from the community. We are a team, we are Kensal Town. Kensal Town, we like to cover that whole Queen's Park and Brunsbury Park and etc. area. So, it'd be nice for us to get, I won't say get more from the community, but do more so that the community could be a little bit more behind us. And even to know us and recognise that, Kensal Town does exist. As much as we need them, if they need us, we're here to support, because, again, it's why we started. I'd like to have, event days or team barbecues where, you invite the community, people can step in and step out and get to meet the team, get to meet the management and the owners, and sort of understand what we're here for and what we want to do. If they can get involved, and the more sort of we're out there, the better for us, because ultimately, different people can sort of get involved and take things to another level that perhaps we can't. And input from other people like that is always welcome. So again, a little bit more sort of assertiveness in a sense of us getting out there, maybe doing a couple more bits that I spoke with Jonan about in regards to sort of getting into some schools and perhaps doing little events or bazaars or whatever it is they do, just to give back, which is, we are where we are now. We have quite a few followers as people, as we know. We spoke the other day with Imran, somebody called up one of the shops and we're like, oh, are you Imran from Kensal Town? So we are getting out there, and it's nice to hear that. So, a bit more of that. And then again, we can progress on the football side of things to sort of mirror what we're doing on our home turf. Then, that'd be great for us to step back in a few years' time and look, we started that. We'll always be involved because it's our baby, but again, to see it grow organically would be fantastic.
All we need is we need to go to Dubai, we need to feed up someone's ego and make him invest like 500k into this club. And I feel, oof.
We don't want to run before we can walk.
You know, when you think about what you do if you had £1 million or millions of pounds, obviously there's standard things you do with your own lifestyle, but that would be my personal project. That Kensal Town is something that I feel so passionately about. Our pattern, our stadium, also everything would be sorted. It'd be the best club about that I could afford to make it. So that's just a dream, but you can only dream.
Or you
again, we've met great people. We've been invited, like when we got invited to that Stonebridge Pavilion by Otis, who sort of looks after the trust there. I mean, to be honest, it's because of what we've done so far. People have sort of picked up on what we are, and we're good. We're not a naughty team. We don't get up to no good. We are actually good, and we do good, and we sort of try to sort of show the people that actually this is the right way to do things. So we got invited. We played against the Pros Club. We met the mayor of Brent. You don't get these things from like being stupid and getting onto silly things. You get it by, like I said, putting in good and getting it out. And what we've done, I think, perfect recipe for that sort of forward momentum.
I think we rarely get into fights as well as the team. I feel like as like playing on a pitch, like you see a lot of handbags in Sunday League football. Like whenever do you see a handbag? Maybe like once every like 3 or 4 games. Like I
And
feel
we
like
never started.
is that we never ever want to start a fight. Other teams
We
want
don't
to
do
come and
bad tackles. We're not a nasty team.
exactly.
Like, our record speaks for itself. Yellow and red cards, we don't get them.
Except for that one situation against Zoo, I don't remember a single situation where our team has been.
Well, no, that situation actually arose because the referee was too scared to put his hand in his pocket and give a card where a card was duly, like, absolutely due. So to be fair, it's, you know, we do stand up for injustice, and that's when we do get involved, but we don't take it that level which it doesn't need to get to.
Because it is football at the end of the day. Like,
you know what, it is those moments that make me, you know, myself and Jonan, we don't necessarily jump in. We sort of try to pull people away. But when I look at some of these moments, I do think actually there is a camaraderie between the team, because some of the guys from the bench and people like Ray, for example, and Aaron and the kids, they actually jump in to stop it and to sort of protect, which is nice because, you know, in other scenarios, in other leagues, I've seen people jump in and actually throw punches. We're not about that. You know, people from the sideline, people that are involved with the club, be it putting up nets and supporting us, those sort of people, looking at that and you think, actually, you know what, we are a family. It's nice, sort of nice to see under the sort of bad circumstances that may have arisen in that moment. But yeah, it's when you look at things like that, sometimes it's the bad times that you spot actually the good bits that make us who we are.
I think this is like credited to you two a lot, but we also have quite a few egos in the team. Like you've got players that are used to being like the number one guy, and they've all managed to mesh together. Like you got players like Mo, Billy, you got Ali, we had Faku, Frankie, all of those guys. Andre, they're all players that are meant to be the like meta player, like they're the number one player, but we've managed to like just create an atmosphere where they can all.
They're all the number one. If they're the best in their position, they will all shine, and together as a team, we rise, we'll all be the number one. And that's the team ethic we need to install. It's not a one-man show. It's 11 superstars on the pitch and 5 superstars on the bench.
And it's good because, you know, if you watch our videos as well on YouTube, you'll see that when that superstar scores, you have the other 2 superstars that go up and celebrate with him. So it is a lack of selfishness and encouragement beneficial to the team, because, you know, like I said, you know, they'll run from left back or right back to go and celebrate with the centre forward, and they'd normally be a star person in their team. But it's nice to see, you know, it is a lot to do with how the managers sort of spoke to them. You know, we speak to them all on a level. We tell them exactly how we want things done, and we're respectful. Like, you know, we had a couple of times in this season where people would say, "Oh, I can't believe you subbed that player off. He's a superstar." We got 20-something superstars in our team. If they weren't that good, they wouldn't be with us. That's the reality. And ultimately, it is how you sort of respect them. Treat them respectfully, you're going to sort of get that respect back. And that's how we sort of approached it. And again, it's down to them. You know, if they were selfish and they were all about themselves and, you know, egotistical, like, you wouldn't have that. Yeah, which again, you know, sometimes there's little squabbles, but it's dealt with, it's squashed, and you just get on with it.
Well, on that note, it has been a lovely, lovely hour talking to you boys. It's been great. Obviously, you're going to have all your socials below. If you point to the left shoulder of Tim, you're going to see the latest video, which is going to be our special 1-year special. And to the right shoulder of Tim, there's a subscribe button. So make sure you subscribe.
We have to mention Simon from Odds and Evens, Your League TV and Traffic Island Discs, who's massively supported us. Got myself, Jonan, on his K2K radio station.
Yeah.
And he comes to every game. And he is never, ever, 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 ever negative about absolutely anything. He's super positive. He helps us. He encourages the players. He took some players on a trial, or a player on a trial to another club. That man right there deserves a lot of credit for his.
Listen, Mr. Odds and Evens, Simon, Your League TV. What an amazing guy, and a true football fan. We're grateful to have him along with us, doing his thing, coexisting. We love him, we appreciate him, and we definitely want to shout him out.
Big White Hawk fan as well, we got to add.
Watch this space.